Ah, it's you. It's been a long time since we've last seen each other. During this time, you've been teetering on the edge of a cliff. You may have forgotten who you are, but just remembering your name is enough. It's time. Don't linger here for too long. After all, you aren't my guest yet, nor should you even be here. She still needs you. December 23rd. You may not remember what this date means to you, and this will thrust you into a peril. No, you must try to remember. You hear a couple of words flying around, seems like medical terms. Is somebody checking on you? In the midst of it, you hear a voice. Sorry for making you suffer again. You open your eyes and you see a girl. She calls you doctor and tells you to take her hand. A medic next to her confirms. All vital signs are stable now. You get up. The girl seems very happy to see you, but that happiness soon turns into sadness when she realizes something. You do not remember her. She introduces herself as Amia. Amia reminds you of who you are. You are the doctor, a member of Rhodes Island, just like them. And they are here to rescue you. Even though you might not remember her, so she says, you will always be the most important person to her. This scene gets interrupted when an armed man enters. You assume that he is also a part of this Rhodes Island. He tells Amia that there is a problem. Armed people have gotten in. Soon after, weird masked people start to enter. Amia knows who they are. They are members of an organization called Reunion. They are armed and they attack. Quickly, Amia orders everyone to get ready for combat, but there is one problem. Somebody called Kalzit was supposed to command them in battle, however, she is not able to reach them. Communications have been cut off, and so Amia asks you to do something. She wants you to lead them into battle. It might be very sudden, she says, but she believes in you. After all, you have commanded them before. Please, she says, take command of Rhodes Island. And you do just that. With your orders, the Rhodes Island operators present defeat the attackers and make them retreat. Everybody there agrees that your commands were perfect, just like Amia promised. Someone everybody calls Instructor Doberman arrives. She reports to Amia that her team was attacked by a Reunion as well. The situation will get only more and more chaotic. They should leave Chernobog immediately. Amia introduces you to her and explains that you have lost your memory, but you still have what it takes when it comes to being a commander. Instructor Doberman trusts Amia's words. She properly greets you and tells you that they will now escort you out of Chernobog, the Ursus city you are currently in, and then get you to Rhodes Island. As they discuss how to do that, you get a sudden transmission. It's a very sassy computer who says something about the establishment of a neural network connection. Amia says that this is PRTS, one of their partners. Connecting to it will allow you to command way smoother. You verify your identity and establish a connection. After that, it's time to go. And that's where the fun begins. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the full Story of Arknights, Part 1, my by far biggest project yet. We don't need a long introduction or something, I just wanna say that I hope that you will enjoy this video. If you do, subscribe to the channel. This right here was a ton of work, and a sub from you would be just wonderful. But now, seriously, grab a snack and a drink and enjoy. Reunion is rioting on the streets of Chernobog. They enter homes as well. It seems like they are looking for specific people. The city's guards are barely able to hold the line against them. No reinforcements are in sight. They aren't able to protect the civilian population. Looking at this, Instructor Doberman, a Rhodes Island operator as you learned, concludes that this most likely isn't just some suicide operation, but a planned invasion. Reunion most likely already has spread throughout all of Chernobog. Your group comes across a Reunion team attacking civilians. Amia can't stand this violence. She wants to stop them. Officially, she says that your group needs to stay moving. You can't just sit around and wait for the whole situation to calm down. And under your frontline command, your group takes out those reunion members cleanly and swiftly without them being able to notify their comrades. Amiya rushes to the attacked civilian you guys just saved and asks her whether she's alright. The civilian seems to notice something and then gets very scared, calling Amiya an infected, telling her to stay away. She says that the infected are at fault for what's going on. You ask Amiya and Doberman about what that was about. They explain that this world is suffering from a terrible disease called oripathy. People who have contracted oripathy get called the infected and get treated very poorly. The nation of Ursus, to which Chernobog belongs, treats its infected especially bad. At Rhodes Island though, most people are infected. The organization specializes in dealing with all conflicts surrounding the infected. The two don't go into details though because you guys have to keep moving. In 3 hours, Chernobog will be struck by a catastrophe. As you keep going, a weird shadowy figure, apparently Reunion, seems to spot your group and alerts their comrades. While the Chernobog news network broadcasts that the situation is under control, the guards have a horrible time dealing with Reunion. The attackers appear to have very strong equipment and still, no reinforcements from the outside are in sight. Since there's violence and rubble on pretty much every street, your group can't use their vehicles to escape, and you also can't split into smaller groups and sneak out, since a small group getting ambushed would mean certain death. You have to keep moving as one big group, on foot, fighting your way through the city. As you do that, you eventually come across a unit of guards. Their captain wants you to identify yourselves, notices that you have infected with you, and orders you to put down your weapons. As your group gets ready for a possible confrontation with them, smoke starts to fill the area. Out of it, a Reunion commander called Crown Slayer and her forces emerge and attack. Amiya asks the guard captain to cooperate, but he just tells her that she is an infected and should get lost. As the guards engage Crown Slayer, your group continues. You reach a rendezvous point. Here you meet up with a group led by Rhodes Island elite operator Ace. Ace seems very glad to see you and says that it will now be just like the good old days. Amiya is barely able to explain to him that you have lost your memories as your group gets ambushed by Reunion once more. Ace is very happy about getting orders from you. He is a total badass and together you easily defend yourselves. Your time is running out though. The sky is getting darker and darker. The clouds appear to almost be pressing into the skyline. The wind has stopped. Soon the catastrophe will be here. Chernobog is a mobile city. In this world, many cities are mobile so that they can evade catastrophes. The fact that Chernobog is not trying to move right now probably means that the city has been paralyzed by Reunion. How could they have pulled off something like that? Most Reunion members you guys have come across here appear to just spend their time with killing civilians. They don't seem like they have the discipline for something like that. Everyone agrees that the Ursus military could easily take care of them if they intervened. So why are they not intervening? Why is no one sending reinforcements? Your group spots a very big group of enemies, among them 2 Reunion leaders. The 2 appear to discuss something and then Crown Slayer, the one of them who you had seen earlier, takes her troops and leaves. The other one walks up to your group and introduces himself as Mephisto. Blocking all your routes, he says that he will allow you to leave if you survive. Until you manage to do that, his troops will continuously attack. Amiya says that with the incoming catastrophe, everyone should just leave, but Mephisto seems to be very excited about the catastrophe. He is also very curious about you and the machine you came out of. The fight against his troops, no, his minions, is very brutal. He commands them so well, it's almost as if he was directly controlling them. As it starts to look bad for you, a radiant light appears from above. It is Rhodes Island operator Nerl, the Radiant Knight. She confronts Mephisto. While Reunion was very precise in taking over the important parts of the city, his people are behaving like mindless beasts. He just orders someone called Faust to silence her. A powerful ranged attack hits Nerl. She manages to block it, but says that with a sniper that powerful aiming at the group, retreating is not possible. Another shot is fired, this time it gets blocked by Ace. With Nerl's and Ace's power, your group manages to break out of the encirclement, and after a while, all the enemies pursuing you are defeated. Amiya explains the memory loss situation to Nerl. She says that she has a friend who's also at Rhodes Island and also goes through the troubles of losing one's memory. You get moving again. Soon you will have reached the city's outskirts. Mephisto is talking with that Faust he ordered to fire earlier. He tells him to track down the Rhodes Island group. He himself will report to someone called Tallulah. She will decide their fate. The sky is getting darker and darker. The catastrophe cloud by now is very defined. Every street of Chernobog is filled with violence or the aftermath of violence, destroyed vehicles, destroyed buildings, and looting. Your group is still on the move, occasionally fighting enemy units you come across. At some point, you pass by what's left of Azazel Clinic, a black market clinic providing aid to the infected, which also has a very vast underground intelligence network. Because of that, Rhodes Island wanted to cooperate with them in the past, however, they didn't trust them enough. Now, the clinic is just one more establishment destroyed by Reunion. Around 1 hour is left until the catastrophe will hit. Your group has to directly cut across one big open area as one big group. The chance of an ambush will be very high. Under your command, you guys will be able to do it though. Charging, and just continuously charging, not giving Reunion the opportunity to regroup and attack, you rush through that area. Finally, you manage to get out of the central region, and with no pursuers, you approach Chernobog's southern exit. At this point, the sky is just straight up dark, and the air smells like it's burning. Chaos is the only word which can describe what's going on in Chernobog. While many civilians have managed to evacuate, others who still are trying to get to the exit are just straight up running into Reunion's positions. Ace sees that Amiya is struggling a lot with the fact that Rhodes Island can't do anything to help them. He tells her that all life is precious, but they don't have the capabilities to save everyone. On top of that, you get found by another Reunion group. Mephisto is talking to someone. He says that Faust has been tracking the Rhodes Island group. He recommends getting rid of them as they might interfere with their plans. While your group makes their stand against a huge wave of attackers, time is up. The catastrophe hits Chernobog. The sky gets dyed crimson red. Rocks start falling out of the low-hanging clouds, destroying entire buildings. Originium clusters start forming, destroying entire blocks. Your operators say it's as if the sky was falling down. While that is happening, and your group is trying its best to survive by constantly relocating, and by Nerl blocking the rocks that are about to hit you, Reunion still continues to attack you. It is as if they have completely gone mad. You have to continue making your way towards the exit. As you're moving and fighting, the catastrophe slowly starts to get weaker. Reunion's attacks, though, continue as they did. Doberman says that even if the catastrophe wiped out half of their forces, Reunion probably has enough manpower to kill you guys a dozen times over. At some point, your group finds itself completely surrounded once again. You form a defensive line. Out of the gigantic amount of Reunion members around you, just one single person emerges and slowly approaches your formation. She spreads the scent of steel and sulfur as if something was burning. According to Rhodes Island's intel, this is Tallulah, the leader of Reunion. A living monster with flames, maybe strong enough to swallow all of Terra. Things around her start melting. Everyone says that the evacuation team with Amiya and the doctor has to leave immediately, while somebody would cover their escape. They start arguing over who should take on that task. Amiya hard disagrees. She does not want anyone to sacrifice themselves under no circumstances. As they are arguing, Tallulah attacks, sending a massive heat wave towards you. Nerl gets in front of it. She manages to tank that one attack, however, After that, her entire armor can be considered entirely useless. Tallulah attacks once more. This time Ace tanks her. He orders his group to get ready for combat and orders his snipers to fire at her. As their crossbow bolts fly towards her, the entire area suddenly gets enveloped in insane heat, making the air barely breathable. Tallulah has burned away the projectiles, not even their ashes remain. Not only that though, the entire block around her has started melting. This is a price for slaughtering fellow infected, Tallulah says. Disappear. She launches another attack. Suddenly, brightness, a flash of arts. You will not hurt them, says Amiya. Proclaiming that she will protect everyone, Amiya goes all out, creating a barrier of dark matter, blocking Tallulah's attack. She struggles a lot. She only barely brought up enough arts for that. That's when Ace takes over. The elite operator asks Doberman to take Amiya and you and leave. I'm sorry, Doctor, he says. You might not remember me, but I remember you, and I know what kind of person you are. His squad gets ready for combat, while you use the time they buy in order to get away. After some time, you regroup. After what happened with Tallulah, Amiya was unconscious for a brief while. She is still able to walk, however, she is very weak and asks you whether she can lean on you. Finally, you make it to the southern exit. Somebody is already awaiting you there. Her name is W. She's there with her unit of reunion fighters. She says that you might not know her, but she knows the person next to Amiya. She has no love for Tallulah, she just wants to talk with you, as she has waited to do so for a very long time. She also says that she personally wiped out another squad of Rhodes Island members within Chernobog, the recon team led by elite operator Scout. Amiya decides to engage her. You fight for a bit, but after a brief while, her unit retreats, apparently from Tallulah's orders. She gives you a personal goodbye. Somewhere within Chernobog, Ace, now with only one arm, gives some emergency treatment to a guard from his squad. The two were the only ones of Ace's squad who survived against Tallulah. He wants his operator to survive a bit longer. He himself will continue to buy Amiya and the Doctor time for as long as he still has one arm. As your group is exiting Chernobog, Amiya suddenly feels a great amount of grief from somewhere within Chernobog. There's no time to think about that for now though. She explains to the present operators, tears should be saved for when the war is over. Not that long after that, you arrive at Rhodes Island, a land ship the size of a small mobile city parked somewhere in the barren lands, awaiting your return. Welcome home. District 5 of the city of Lungmen in the Empire of Yen. The LGD is inspecting people, looking for unregistered infected, detaining those who they find, and temporarily also anybody who puts up resistance. Apparently because Reunion is trying to infiltrate the city. Amiya and you arrive to that scene, 14 minutes later than agreed upon. You two get greeted by Madame Chen Huichie, who is not happy about you being that late. She escorts you two to the office of Lungmen's leader. Lungmen is a gigantic mobile city in the western parts of the Empire of Yen. After the events of Chernobog, the city has experienced a huge influx of refugees, some infected, some just displaced. Lungmen's leadership expects that Reunion will try to use that stream of people to infiltrate the city. Rhodes Island has offered Lungmen an alliance in order to solve the situation together. In order to kick off the negotiations, Rhodes Island has already dispatched one of their most important members to the city. As you enter the office, you see that person, Dr. Kalzit. She seems not really happy about seeing you. You don't really exchange any words. Amiya tells you that Kalzit will handle the negotiations. You listen to her talking with Lungmen's leader, Chief Wei Yanwu. Kalzit's main point is that Lungmen might know how to handle the infected, but not an organization like Reunion. They need specialists, and the fact that Rhodes Island has already survived one encounter with Reunion is proof of them being more than capable enough. Chen interrupts her, offended by her basically saying that the LGD is not capable enough, but Kalzit holds her ground. Only infected are capable of countering the infected, she says. Chief Wei asks Chen to detail how well Rhodes Island fights. She describes your capabilities, praising you guys, but says that the LGD is strong enough to handle the situation at hand. Chief Wei concludes that Rhodes Island seems to be very useful to Lungmen, but there is a little problem. Rhodes Island also has a couple of conditions for the establishment of the alliance. Those are a bit too much. Kalzit just tells him that Reunion will easily take over Lungmen within 2 weeks. She asks Amiya to tell them why Chernobog fell in one night. She says because the city was also hit by a catastrophe, which her and her team survived. Now Wei is impressed. He wants Amiya to elaborate a bit more. She elaborates on Reunion's strategy and possible next steps. Lungmen will be their next target, since they will run out of resources. She also presents a couple of reasons for the cooperation. Wei praises the way Amiya talks. He is not opposed to an alliance, but he has 2 important conditions. First, Rhodes Island will be tasked with identifying threats within Lungmen related to the Chernobog incident and share important information related to that. Second, well, the second condition will be revealed once the first one is satisfied. After a bit, everyone agrees. It seems like Madame Chen also has her own goal now, says Chief Wei. He is happy about the alliance, but wants you to remember that infected people are not allowed to move freely in Lungmen. The city will be open to Rhodes Island as long as their actions are in line with their rules. As you and the 2 Rhodes Island members leave the office, Amiya seems very relieved. Talking with Chief Wei was very difficult. Dr. Kalzit praises her. She did very well in her opinion. Then she turns towards you and just stares. Amiya asks her to not be too hard on you. Kalzit stares a bit longer, inhales very sharply, and then just says, "I hope our sacrifices weren't in vain." You are on a mission together with Amiya and multiple operators, among others Franka and Liskam, who are currently working with Rhodes Island. You are in the Lungmen slums. Most people here are infected. You are supposed to find a target person. Thanks to intel provided by Penguin Logistics, you know that you can find the person in these ends. You spot a group of rioters trying to get information out of a couple of infected kids. Those kids shout for help from someone they call Sister Misha. Amiya intervenes into this situation. Her threatening the rioters with her arts makes them run. Liskam tells Amiya that there's an incoming call from the LGD. It's Madame Chen with new orders to find an infected Ursus girl with white hair named Misha and immediately bring her to her. It doesn't take your group long to find her in a rundown building. Amiya greets her and introduces herself and Rhodes Island to her. She won't have to worry anymore. Misha is scared. She says that surely they will just arrest her. Amiya calms her down by showing that she's an infected, just like her. Also, Franka says that if they wanted to arrest her, they wouldn't have talked to her in the first place but just arrested her. Seeing that she doesn't really have a choice, Misha comes with you. Amiya reports to Chen, and the Madame tells her which meeting point to get to. She wants you to be as quick as possible. Not knowing the fastest route, Amiya makes the decision to contact Penguin Logistics and request assistance from them. Soon their employee Exia arrives. After getting shown the meeting point, she very quickly decides on the fastest route to get there. She also tells you that you have been surrounded. Reunion has successfully infiltrated Lungmen through the slums. Your group, now with Misha, decides to run. Since Reunion members continuously pursue you, Exia goes ahead alone in order to find another route, one where you won't constantly run into enemies. Amiya uses the opportunity to talk to Misha. The Ursus girl is very unhappy about being taken to the LGD. She has seen how the LGD treats the infected of the slums. She does not consider them to be the good guys. Penguin Logistics employee Texas arrives. She will lead your group to Exia, who has found the perfect route. Shortly after, more enemies arrive as well. This time, it's not just random Reunion members. They have brought their commander with them. Someone who they call Skull Shatterer. He seems to have noticed Misha. "Finally," he says, looking at her. "I've finally found you." Amiya concludes, "They are here for Misha!" Your group swiftly gets moving while fending off multiple attacks. Misha is disturbed by seeing infected fight each other. You arrive at Exia's location and she shows you the route. Over the rooftops of the Lungmen slums. You get onto the rooftops and yes, the closely connected rooftops allow you to move very quickly. However, there's a problem. All of this takes a very heavy toll on Misha. She collapses. According to Amiya, that's a sign for an acute form of erypathy. It can get life-threatening very quickly. Once this is over, she wants her to immediately get to Rhodes Island for treatment. While everyone is waiting for Misha to get up, you save a group of infected civilians who were being harassed by Reunion. Once she gets up, you can get moving again, although she's still very dizzy. You finally make it to Chen. The madam takes her in and assigns a guard to her. Amiya asks her whether she can get to Rhodes Island for treatment. She answers that she will submit a request to Chief Wei. After a very brief moment, Reunion attacks once more. The LGD with Chen and Misha falls back while you cover their escape. Once those attackers are defeated, Texas and Exia take a leave since their job is done. Somewhere outside of Lungmen, Crown Slayer reports to Tallulah. Reunion's preparations are finished. She gives the order to strike. Once alone, she says that she will make him pay. The whole situation is pretty interesting to her. Don't you agree, Tallulah? She asks herself. Your group is on the rooftops again. Skullshatterer and his forces keep fighting against you until he notices that Misha isn't with you anymore. Now he orders a full-on attack, shouting that he hates Rhodes Island. A very hard fight ensues. Misha is with Chen. The madam asks the girl whether she knows why she is so important. She answers that it's probably because of her parents. Her father was the most important scientist of Chernobog. As they are talking, somebody is watching them from not that far. While your group is cornered, Skullshatterer is also not doing very well. The fight just was insanely hard. As he is giving everything, a messenger gets to him, reporting that W has been successful. She has retrieved the target. Skullshatterer shoots a flare signal to Tallulah and then orders a retreat. Amiya immediately contacts Chen. She assumes the worst. Chen is very angry. Misha got taken away and the reinforcements she was counting on were stalled out by one single enemy. After regrouping, you meet up with Chen outside of Lungmen City's borders. Amiya presses her for answers. Why is Misha so important? Chen tells you guys that Misha's father was an incredibly important figure in Chernobog, and it is possible that she holds information relevant to getting Chernobog working again. Because Lungmen does not want Reunion to use Chernobog, under no circumstances, getting her back has top priority. Rhodes Island and the LGD will carry out a joint operation to retrieve Misha. The LGD will take the lead. Rhodes Island will be in charge of recon and assault. Amiya immediately gets in touch with Texas and Exia once again. Seems like Penguin Logistics are the professionals when it comes to recon operations. The two arrive and do their job. And by the time they report the location of Misha's kidnappers, Inspector Hoshiguma from the LGD's Special Operations Division has arrived together with reinforcements. It's time to move out. Reunion has set up a temporary base at an abandoned mine. Misha is guarded by a Reunion member named Ivan. She asks him why he fights. He tells her about how Ursus treats the infected worse than livestock and about how his entire family was killed just for being infected. Skullshatterer gets to them and asks Ivan to help with treating the wounded. Misha by now has realized who Skullshatterer really is. Her younger brother Alex. He tells her that he threw away that name a long time ago. She hates all the fighting. Why does he have to hurt people? Alex got infected not that long ago. He reminds her of the day the authorities of Ursus came to their home in order to drag him away. His mother wouldn't let go of him, so they bat her, mercilessly. Her blood colored the snow red. If Reunion would have been there, so he says, this wouldn't have happened. Misha remembers that day. She feels horrible for not being able to help him back then, despite being the older sister. Skullshatterer doesn't blame her at all. It's up to her whether she will join Reunion, but he wants her to know that she's an infected, and Reunion will fight until the infected are free. The Chernobygians deserved to be wiped out, as they stood by and watched while the infected suffered. Rhodes Island is the enemy as well, he says, as they slaughter their fellow infected. Tallulah is the one who will bring a brighter future. As the two have their own little reunion, Texas and Exia strike their base. They kill over 20 Reunion members and fall back once the Reunion main force comes out, returning to Rhodes Island. Misha and Skullshatterer are still together. He teaches her how to use an Originium-based grenade launcher by channeling her arts. A messenger arrives and reports on the attack on the camp. Skullshatterer gives the order to get ready for a counterattack. He again tells Misha that Rhodes Island are the bad guys. He promises to protect her, and they promise each other to go home together. Skullshatterer meets up with W. He asks her to protect Misha while he will stay and fight. W says that while Misha is important, he still has to remember that he also has to win. She tells him that in order to win, he just has to take out you, the Rhodes Island field commander. The hooded person who's always next to that bunny girl, as she puts it. The fight will be easy after that. They decide to set up an ambush. Your group soon realizes that Reunion probably has set up an ambush. Everyone agrees on a plan. Chen and the LGD will change positions in order to block the enemy's escape routes, while Rhodes Island, supported by Hoshiguma, will advance just like until now. You slowly move forward and just encounter a rather small group of Reunion members together with one big Sarkas boy. You defeat them, but it seems like that can't have been everything. Suddenly, you hear noises from below the ground. Skullshatterer appears and fires a grenade straight at you. Hoshiguma blocks the attack. While his surprise attack failed, he still has an ace up his sleeve. He will detonate his grenade launcher to kill you. Amiya flips out, shouting that she will not let him hurt you. Her arts burst out and penetrate Skullshatterer. Saying that he will not forgive her, his life fades away. Amiya doesn't feel so good. She didn't want that to happen. She does not regret killing Skullshatterer, she just didn't want you to see her like that. There might have been another way to solving this, she just wasn't able to find it. Yet, she's happy that she was able to protect you. Suddenly, a huge wave of Reunion members launch an attack. They are trying to get to Skullshatterer's body. Your group quickly gets into a defensive position, as that attack quickly turns into a full-on assault. W is also there and engages Hoshiguma. Amiya decides to not fight the big assault, but to assist Hoshiguma with her duel against W instead. Chen and her forces arrive as well. Everyone surrounds W. She doesn't really feel like fighting, so she just throws a cell phone to Amiya and swiftly departs, using a flashbang. Amiya hears Misha's voice through the cell phone. Misha saw everything that happened with her brother and now asks her to listen to what's going on in the Reunion base. There's medics running around trying to save people. Others are asking themselves why Rhodes Island would do something like that to their fellow infected. Others, some of them very young, cry at the sight of their friends and family being dead or dying. Misha says that she has always turned a blind eye to the infected's suffering. Her brother didn't deserve what happened to him. He had just started asking her for help with his homework. She says that she is an infected and will fight on the side of the infected. Amiya tries to talk her out of that, but she hangs up. Chen tells Amiya that Reunion's forces, now led by W, have set up a base in an abandoned mine. Despite of all she just heard, Amiya is not out of it. She assesses that W has probably set up many traps and explosions. A frontal assault would be very bad. Rhodes Island can lure them out, so that the LGD can arrest them. Chen decides that our current forces will be separated into 3 squads, one led by her, one by Hoshiguma, and one consisting out of Rhodes Island's forces. Hoshi and Rhodes Island will fight down the enemy's defenses, while Chen will take care of their fire base. The objective, getting Misha back. A couple of Reunion members with W and Misha have gotten to Skullshatterer's body in the meantime. The members are angry. If Mephisto would have been here, this could have been avoided. W tells them to calm down. Mephisto does not care about his comrades. Misha wants some time alone with her brother. W tells her that she shouldn't take too long. The longer she waits, the more of her Reunion friends will die. They will die anyway, covering the two escaping, she says. She just tells Misha that people will die because of her. Misha says that W is annoying. W says that she will give her a couple of minutes to make up her mind. It's not too late to come with her. Skull Shatterer isn't dead, Misha says, when alone with her brother. She will bring him back. As the joint operations forces are advancing, Misha is nowhere to be found. Everyone assumes that W probably has taken her away. Suddenly, explosions, multiple grenades explode, and the present reunion members shout something about a miracle. Skull Shatterer is back. He tells his troops that he will cover their escape and that they should leave. But they won't leave his side. They start a full-on frontal assault. Chen quickly gives new orders to everyone, taking out Reunion. Seeing their leader return, they have found new hope. They refuse to surrender. You have no choice but to fight them. While Skull Shatterer leads the assault, his men are covering his flanks. At some point, he reaches Yu and Amiya. He tells her that maybe fighting each other was their fate all along. Amiya does not want to do it, but you tell her that she knows that she has no choice. And so, Skull Shatterer makes his last stand. Amiya takes off the mask of this fallen Skull Shatterer. It was Misha. Chen is with her. She gives her some advice. If you decided to bear the burdens of being Rhodes Island's leader, then accept the consequences. Also, if she keeps that mask, one day her entire room will be filled with masks like those. Amiya thanks her. The LGD will handle cleaning up the mess left after the battle, so you and your operators leave. W has been watching everything from afar. She comments on how unexpected fate can be sometimes. Yet, she is excited for what the future has in store for her. And that's where we will leave it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Originally I wanted to summarize all 8 chapters as one big video, but that turned out to be, well, impossible. That's why I will divide it into multiple parts. If you liked the video, it would be awesome if you would subscribe to the channel. That would really help me out with doing that stuff. Now, let me thank my wonderful channel supporters and operators and my amazing channel commanders. Ankoku, Azriel, Cessif, Chris, Daniel Henriquez, Demoboy125, Erwin Heckler, Eisel, Heiligkeit, Longo, LWKY, Written and Zephyrinix. Thanks a lot for your support, guys, and to you, thanks for watching, and I hope I will see you next time. Cheers!